Good morning. I've been thinking about what we could talk about. I always think of the WWE, Cody Rhodes standing there. He comes out, everybody's ovation. When it finally settles down, he grabs his mic, puts it up to his mouth. Everybody starts cheering. He waits for the cheering to stop. And when he gets on there, first thing he says is, whatever city it is he's in, he'll mention the city name. He goes, for example, Indianapolis and Indiana. What do you want to talk about? It's his catchphrase. It's what he does, generally. And it cracks me up because he'll be sitting there and everybody's all excited. What do you want to talk about? And it's crazy how the WWE characters have gotten to the point where they know that the audience is there to be entertained, and so they are addressing the audience. The Rock had the people's elbow. Cody Rhodes' championship is not his own, it is the people's championship. It is them as a team. He couldn't do it without them. It's great. Gunther beat John Cena. And I'm mentioning all these guys not because that's not where I'm going with it, because I'm not doing a big WWE thing. But it's entertaining to me. You know, Gunther beat John Cena, and Gunther comes walking out. Gunther, however you pronounce it. But he comes out, and everybody just boos. I don't like the language as much. That part of it is kind of wrong, I think. I think people are very invested in cheering or booing whatever they want. I mean, that's how the wrestlers know that they got somewhere, is from the booing and the cheering. And, you know, we're doing what we're supposed to do if we're getting booed or cheered. It's been said as much by several wrestlers. Roman Reigns. Yes, I watch wrestling. I'm a nerd that way. I like that. I don't watch it a lot, but I do watch it here and there. But it's great when you see people like Sting or Shawn Michaels, where they had this life that was miserable. And then they found, you know, and things were going at their lowest, and they were at the lowest of the low. Sting was getting divorced. Shawn Michaels, I forget, he was in alcohol. And they both found Christ, and it changed their lives, and they changed who they were. They were all about themselves, and they found Christ, and they became something more. And there's many others I can mention. But those are the two biggest names that I think have had the biggest switch. Undertaker's another. The Dead Man is a Christian. To me, that's humorous. And that's where I'm really going, is, you know, God can turn things so around. I remember watching The Practical Jokers. I love that show. But they had an episode where one of their things was they had to do this big obstacle course. They were at this biker event. You know, not esports. What's it called? The X-Sports, I guess. I think it's called. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Where they have the bicycle tricks and the motorcycle. It was a motorcycle thing that day, I think. Actually, it wasn't a biker. It was a motorcycle. But, you know, I can't think of the term for it. But either way, whatever sport it was you know, they're on motorcycles. They're racing motorcycles and stuff like that, doing tricks. Mostly doing tricks. So they got to learn how to ride on little little motorcycle, mini motorcycle, four-wheelers, scooters, whatever. They did all that stuff. Scooters, I don't think they learned. I think that was just something that came with it. But they went through and they did the obstacle course. At the end, they went up this ramp, and then they had to jump across this little crack and hit the door. And it was 3 doors, and they had to pick one. And if they went through, they could run around and hit the buzzer. If not, then they hit a wall and they went into that little ravine. It was real tiny. I mean, it was all padded. But they'd fall into that, turn around, go back, and do it again. And the first one was Joe. If you watch the Practical Jokers, you know which characters I'm talking about. If you have not watched it, there's 4 characters. They were 4 friends that try to embarrass each other. It's what they do. And they made a show, and they made money off it. Awesome. But we all like to do something like that. And it's become widely known, so most of you guys will know what it is. Some of you won't, but I find it very entertaining. I love the fact that they were so creative that they made it a business out of their own friendships and stupidity. That's how they word it, which is what I think is hilarious. But the point I'm making, though, is the fact that they are going out. They hit this event, and they go through the obstacle course, and Joe comes in, and he runs up the steps, and he runs to the door, hits the door, falls down. It was not one he could go through. The door was locked, could not get through it. He fell. At that point, he was exhausted. I think he tried the second time, hit the other door, and at that point, he was just done. I think it was Murnek, it was supposed to be Sal next. He went, he gets to the end, runs up the ramp, tries to jump through the door, and he hits the door. No, I think he went through, actually found the door that was open and went right through it. I think it was Sal. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. If I'm not accurate, I'm sorry. For those that have watched, you can make a comment. But I have a point for where I'm going with all this. Next was Q, but Q was hurt, so he had Joey Fatone from the back NSYNC run it for him because he was good friends with Joey Fatone, which in his own right he should become the new member of this group because he's awesome at it. He's great, and he does it. He actually does really good. And he hits the door, runs back around, goes through, and he finds the open door and hits the buzzer. And then Murr does it, and he has the best time, and he ends up winning the whole thing. So it was all for charity. But it was fun. It was great to watch. But my point is this, they had 3 doors to go through, and only one was open. One was open out of 3. And they ran through that door, or they hit a wall, basically, that was dressed like a door. And they said, a pad. But it was a wall. And the thing is obviously, God is like that with us, God has walls set up to protect us. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. I don't. And I'm in my car driving and it kind of hit me, why not do a video on this? And I'm going through a long time to say all this. God says He closes doors and opens doors for us. And it's a blessing, or it can be a curse, really. It's frustrating. It's irritating that I'm doing all of this stuff and it feels like it's for nothing. I'm working this hard to try to accomplish what I want, and it gets me nowhere. I'm going to church, and I feel alone. And I go home, and it's like I'm supposed to matter, and I don't. But then there's days I go to church, and that's how I feel sometimes. But then there's days I go to church, and the point of going to church sometimes is not about friendship and fellowship. It is about getting what we need to be fed, to be taken care of. Fellowship's important. That's what fellowship is about. That's what church is about, is fellowship. But some of it is also the fact that, we get kind of nourished. It's kind of like a little snack that gives us what we need for the week. I have a bearded dragon, and I keep going to illustrations, but I have a bearded dragon. He has food he takes daily. I put just a little bit of calcium on his worms or on his crickets. I put water on his vegetables, and I soak them, and you got to rinse them off anyway. But when I do that, I put it in there, and he's getting liquid off whenever he eats it, if he chooses to eat it when they're wet. But bearded dragons are kind of weird because bearded dragons don't always drink. Sometimes what they eat is the liquid they get. They don't drink straight up sometimes. I go in their spray bottle and they'll sit there and they'll lick away whenever water hits its nose. But his body is absorbing some water. Or when he eats the food or the crickets, it's getting that fluid in him. But the reality is, he is only doing what I'm allowing it to do. It's getting its nutrients, and I'm trying to make sure it's getting what it needs. But it doesn't need it all the time. The calcium is not something he needs all the time. It's something his body needs. When we drink milk, we need that vitamin D, or we need vitamin, whatever vitamin we get from milk. Calcium. Whatever. Nutrients we get. We don't need a lot of vitamin C from fruits and vegetables, from fruits. Our body needs, but we don't need it in excess unless we're sick. Then we take more of it because it helps our body flow. God is something we need all the time. But God, we're running and we're coming up to that door and we go to jump and God says, nope, not here. Boom. Hit the door, we fall down. Guess what? We need door C. We get on that ramp and we run up that ramp and we're running and we turn around and we hit that second door. Boom. Down. God closed that door too. It's frustrating. You might be single and you want that girlfriend. You want to date this girl. And you think it's going great. And you get with her and you talk to her. And it's going great. And then she ghosts you. Bam! That door's shut. Maybe if you was with that girl, maybe she was going to cheat on you. Maybe you was going to cheat on her. Maybe you're going to be in a position where she's not going to give you what you need and you're going to want to look for it elsewhere. Maybe she was going to find what she needs elsewhere. Because in today's society, everybody wants the next big thing. Everybody wants that greener grass on the other side. And guess what? You have to work at that grass to get it to be green on your side. You got to water it. You got to feed it. You got to make sure it is ready to go. You got to make sure it's fresh. And maybe you got to put grass seed to let it grow. And guess what? If you keep your grass watered and you keep putting grass seed down, guess what? It won't be greener on the other side. You got to work at it, but your grass will be greener than the other side. But you got to be willing to put the time and the effort into it. And that's really my point right here. God closes doors. I'm single. I hate it. But maybe I am single because being with somebody, maybe it's going to lead to something that is premarital. Adultery. That wouldn't be adultery. It would be, what's the term? Basically, having sex outside of marriage. It's going to be a temptation. Maybe if I got with her, maybe we're going to hit pornography. Maybe it's something she's into. I don't want to look at pornography when I'm with her. Maybe it's going to be something where I'm with her and she's not a Christian. maybe she is going to lie through her teeth, and I'm not going to catch it till after we tie the knot. Maybe she's a manipulative and make it sound like she's all that and everything she promises. And you get married, and maybe she's the kind of person that will say everything you want to hear, and then when things get serious, she's the opposite. For whatever reason, God closes that door. I'm not meant to be with this person or that person. I'm meant to go to church, but I'm not meant to be friends with this particular person where we talk a lot. Maybe I think I'm supposed to be going to this small group, but maybe I'm going to get more. Maybe God wants me to help in this other one. Whatever the reason, maybe God has a reason for you to not be that direction. Maybe, and here's just a thought, maybe the idea is that God wants you to just not worry about relationships. Maybe it's not about him wanting you to worry about your finances or your friendships or relationships. You have a family, obviously your family is very important. If you have kids, they're very, very important. But maybe the reason the door is closed because God wants you to get closer to him. Maybe God wants you to the point where your concentration is not on anything but him. You are my Lord. You are my shepherd. I will not fall into temptation, not because I'm strong enough to fight it, not because I'm good enough to fight it, not because I have the support group to fight it. Maybe it's more where I can fight a temptation because you lead me a different direction. Maybe, just maybe, God closes doors on you because he knows. And here's the hard concept for us to understand sometimes, because we don't see or feel God some days. Some days we feel like God's not around, he's not existent. But maybe he's closing the door on you because he loves you and it's what's best for you. I would love to date. I would love to be with somebody. But I know temptations are high too. As much as I want to be with somebody, if the temptation is going to be higher than my need to be with a person and it's not somebody that's a Christian, maybe God wants you to be with somebody that's going to fulfill you in a way that you've not had. I'm saying this personally because it's my reality, my perspective, and my thought process. Maybe it's the fact I'm making this video because if I need to hear it, maybe you do. God closes doors, whatever door it is, whatever reasoning it is, whatever the direction is, whatever the purpose is, whatever the problem is that you really want to accomplish and it's not happening. Maybe it's, I want to buy this, but I have to provide this instead. Maybe it's, I want to go have fun so I can go to a casino, but instead I'm going to work. And maybe I'll be invited to go kayaking over the summer instead. And that'll be money. Instead of for that, I'll use the money for the kayak to rent out a kayak and go kayaking with a friend. Maybe find a turtle. Ironically, that's actually happened. My daughter found this little tiny turtle in a really, really big river that goes from Lake Erie all the way to the Indiana line. And at one of the widest points of that river, she found this little turtle. Literally, it was that big. I am not lying. She thought it was a bug or something. She put her stick underneath it, lifted up, and here's this little turtle on her paddle. It was her prized possession. She was proud of it. It's not possession. Awesome find. God closes doors. You know, there was a couple times that year that I wanted, that was 2 years ago, and there was a couple times that I really, several times throughout the year, I said, I want to buy these cards. I want to do this. I want to spend the money on this. I worked and focused and stayed home. I had surgery coming up for my rotator. Still hurts like heck. But I had surgery coming up. And so I knew I was going to take time off. And I was saving money for my time off. And I said, and I wanted my bills knocked out. And I worked like all get out to get that done. And I could have spent money on X, Y, Z, but my friend invited me to go kayaking with them. And there were several times I wanted to do this, do that. Doors shut. No. I want to do this. No. Doors shut. Let's go kayaking. Okay. Daughter went with me. We had a blast. I was exhausted. She was exhausted. She slept on the way home. We got home. I slept. But we got there and she found that turtle. She hated being there. She hated the kayaking. She hated everything. She hated life. As soon as she found that turtle, I was done at that point. My friend was done at that point. We were headed home. We were headed back to put the kayaks back and be done. We had a blast. It was great. But we were done, and she all of a sudden, as soon as she found that turtle, she put that turtle in the kayak to kind of visit her and be with her. She was so proud of it that she came over to us and she showed all of us that turtle, that little tiny turtle. She was so happy. She did not want to leave the water. Dad, can we keep going? Dad, can we do this? Dad, I want to do this. Dad, can we keep it? Dad, can we do this? She was actually enjoying herself, and we were so exhausted. I'm like, I think we need to go back, but if you want to go a little bit longer, I mean, we'll let you stay out here a little bit longer, but we need to go back. I mean, we're tired. She cried the whole time, and as soon as she found that turtle, that cry became, I don't want to leave. I don't want to be done. Door opened. She loved that turtle. She loved that turtle. Little tiny turtle in a really big river where it's impossible to find something even this big. And I was trying to find, we knew there was turtles there, we saw the turtles, but to get a good view of one was really hard. Here she found a real tiny one this big on a stick. God works miracles. God does amazing things. Amazing things. And what could have really sucked that day turned into everything else was forgotten. I'm having a blast. Door got opened. That is my point with this whole thing. Is God has a purpose for your life. And He will close doors. And things will seem like they suck and be horrible. And that little bitty tiny thing that happens. God is amazing. This channel is meant for me more than it is for you guys. And I get frustrated when I don't get a lot of views. I would love to see this channel take off. And I said I was going to concentrate on music, but this is my ministry. And regardless of what I do, I'm still going to have these preachings. I'm still going to have these other things that happen. I'm still going to show fun things that I see when I work, or things I'm excited about. This is, as much as I would love to make money on this channel, this is a channel that is a teaching thing for me. All these preachings I've done have not been for you guys. although I think God works in mysterious ways, I would love to see this channel explode with my music and with all the other stuff. And I thought, this is my purpose, but really, I think the purpose of this channel and the reason why God is keeping it open and for me to be excited about this channel is because it's my kind of my junk drawer. You open up the junk drawer and you can find batteries, you can find aluminum foil, clothespins. This is my junk drawer. A bunch of notes that I've had for years that I didn't want to get rid of. Lighters, thumbtacks, little safety knives with the the knife with the razor blade that you open and close. Pot holders. It's in my kitchen. Aluminum foil, Reynolds wrap, wax paper, junk. There's no rhyme or reason to what's in it. It's just there. And our lives is like a junk drawer. We got everything in it. We got temptation, excitement, fun, down stuff. And God is the organization in our junk drawer. He has a reason for the season, as I said. Guys, I want you guys to be blessed. But again, this is my kind of thing I hit. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. And remember, if a door's closed, there's a reason for it. You guys be blessed. Merry Christmas.